So yeah, I would say I'm a relatively happy person, but I get asked this question quite a few times, and the only way I can answer it is I don't measure my own emotional state. It doesn't cross my mind. I don't know how else to explain it. Happy or sad, I wake up with a very busy day, and I have a lot to do. And I guarantee on the saddest day I could possibly have and the happiest day I possibly have, my work will get done. It doesn't cross my mind. I don't know how else to say it. Outside of like a family death or something massive that's plaguing my brain, how I feel doesn't cross my mind. I don't know how else to explain it. I have things to do.
I think we're always, like, if you look back and say, were you richer when you were poorer or now? What would you say? Were you happier when you were poorer or now?
I think that the good old days are constantly happening. I think in 10 years from now, this will be the good old days.
Exactly.
I think we're always living the good old
days.
Say. It's how you look back.
I feel like we always forget the negatives. Like right now, we'll look back and say, oh, remember how fun that interview was and how good times were having. But then we won't remember like the bad stuff that happens this week and stuff. We just always remember the good. And I think the natural human brain learns to forget the pain or the bad moments.
To say content, everyone's is different. Like for me, have money, this, that. Me, it's just my kids. Like I have to be home when they finish school and go to bed. I don't care what's going on that day, these two things, unless I'm really busy or I've got some commitments, I have to be there. Why? It's just me. This is my pleasure. I can't explain. Before kids, I was like, I used to have my nephew. And since I've got kids, I forgot about him. Like, I was like, it's my sister. These are mine, It's just this kind of a thing. Like, but my contentness is seeing them happy, and my goal is to be successful enough to the point where I'm dead, where before I die, they're set.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean like what. I just need to make sure they're set. If God forbid I'm not, but they've got enough values and thing, and that stems from religion. But what I want to go back into is like, which has gone viral lately, as we saw, and I want to bring this up on the podcast. You've recently chosen to be a Muslim, and I want to say, what made you take that path? Because I'm not even nothing, but my face is parted everywhere, and I wish I had a better outfit in that mosque, because I'm on every news from Pakistan to Africa. Andrew Tate, Muslim praying with Tim Khan. My name's Tim now. Like, people are getting, I'm like, say the name right, Tom Khan. Tag me on Instagram, but like, what made you you've got everything, and like to a lot of people saying, why would you want to be in a religion where there's certain boundaries? Why? Because you're living this life. A lot of Westerners will say, why would you be in Islam? Why? Like, what made you?
Humans need boundaries. That's the first thing I'll start by saying. I'll say that I used to be an atheist. I like to believe that I found scientific proof for God. I think that there's an equal and opposite force. That was one of Newton's laws. And when you understand the evil that exists in the world today, there must be an opposite force to the evil, which has to be God. To sit and say that the things that are happening in the world today aren't truly evil is ignorant. And once you understand they're truly evil and that people are doing them on purpose, not on accident, you understand that Shaitan exists, the demons exist, which means God must exist. So then you have to find the religion which I believe you feel the most affinity to. Truthfully, I think Islam is almost the only religion on the planet. I look at other religions now, and they don't have any red lines. They don't have any non-tolerance. If you're going to sit there and be tolerant of absolutely everything, then you stand for nothing. So how can you be a religion? But the whole point of religion is exactly what you said. There are certain things you cannot do. If you're going to have a religion and say, well, you can do whatever you want, then you don't have a belief system. So it's almost like people say, why did you choose the Muslim religion? I sit and say, name another one. Name another religion where you actually are sticking to guidance and adherence to certain rules to show respect to God. Name one. And you can't, which means it must be the only one, which means it's the right one. So to me, it's pretty simple. Like, I don't think there's any competition or alternative to it. And I've always felt an affinity for it. I've always been talking on podcasts about how much I respect it. Like, and if you're going to be religious, you're going to choose the path you respect. I don't think there's any other choice. I see people say they're Christian all days long, and I say, what does that mean? Because I can name drag queens who are Christian. I can name, but what does it mean?
No, but I understand your
point. What does it
truly,
mean? Yeah. It doesn't mean anything. And there has to be a degree. I mean, I'm attacked all the time, and I get it. But there has to be a degree of intolerance inside of a rule set. That's what the rule set means. If a football game, offside rule is intolerance. There has to be intolerance inside of any set of rules. If you're going to come along and say we have absolutely zero intolerance and we're tolerant of everything, then you have no rules. And then society degrades. So everything we were talking earlier about man, women, family, how all of the problems, all of the degenerate behaviors I'm advertising so men can protect their mental state instead of falling in love and then end up suicidal by some woman who leaves them and cheats on them, all of that can be prevented with a rule set. But it's only Islam that can do that. You can't go to a church and go, I've met a Christian girl, don't worry, it's in the bag. Good luck, friend. We know what's going to happen. So I don't think there's any competition. It has to be the truth. It has to be the truth.
Mashallah.
Yeah, mashallah. Honestly, and I'm not. You get good Christians, like we know. You get
Of course, you get good
Orthodox
people of all
Christians
kinds, of
and all
course.
kinds, even Jews. Like you get these traditional Christians, which I respect, who are also can't practice their own religion because Christianity is it like you said, it's evolving to the point where it's fit in society, where Islam will never do that. We spoke once, and I said, you could give me $1 billion, $10 billion to say denounce Islam, I wouldn't do it, and I mean it. You could put the cash straight in front of me. You could never make me do that. You could do that with anyone else.
Religion should shape society. Society shouldn't shape religion. And that's what's happened.
Yeah, like, James, I'm not sure how many times you've been here. We could literally go to the beach now, sit somewhere, all our phones, these watches, leave the car engine running and just leave. Come back in 3 hours, it's there. Only thing that maybe the battery dies. Literally, no one will touch it because it stems from Islamic law. And I think, when we're talking, I think, and I know a lot of stick and as well support, it went viral saying he's doing it for clout, he's not. And I can truly say, I know him for a long time, and we speak of different things. It was purely his decision, purely to go in that mosque that day. It was just spiritual. It was UFC. We had about 50 people waiting for us in the restaurant. We just went to pray, and it was just this kind of relaxation. I saw in his eyes, he felt good.
Yeah.
And it was good to see because he has a lot. He can't even be out once he leaves this door. He has to put this face on. He doesn't have to, but picture he stop with 100 stop. Any mistake, he could do this from a long angle. Looks like he's punching a woman. He's in that kind of world now, and I think he's got a lot of responsibility also because now the Muslim world is very as well judgmental. Unfortunately, it's a beautiful religion, but the people don't judge by the.
But that's what he likes about it because there is boundaries.
Well, there is boundaries, but also I think that the bottom line of it all is, James said it earlier, hedonism and pleasure, etc., is a black hole. And if you don't have any self-enforced boundaries or boundaries from a higher power, you will never fill that black hole. I've never been a degenerate person. I've never been degenerate when it comes to fornication. I've never been a gambler. I've never tried a single drug in my life. I've never tried steroids. I've never smoked a puff of weed. Nothing. I've never been a degenerate guy. Bit of vodka, some cigars, and work and really hard work. That's fine. But I'm saying that the people who try and find happiness through endless hedonism, it's a black hole. And the truth to happiness is to come along and find some rule sets that you respect and agree and say, no, I don't do this, I don't do that. And you'll feel better doing that. And this is the reality of it. And this is how God gives you peace in your heart and in your mind. You don't look at 5